Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Fawn. I'm a nature-based painter from Texas, and I love the outdoors. Today I'll be starting a new series where I visit natural places and wildlands, then create something new based on that experience. In this video, I'll be visiting Lincoln National Forest. For this trip, I was driving in from Texas, and it was really interesting to slowly see the landscape change over the 11-hour drive. Lincoln National Forest is located in southern New Mexico, and the terrain ranges from Chihuahuan Desert to subalpine forest. There are 3 major mountain ranges in this forest, including the Sacramento, Guadalupe, and Capitan. The forest was first established as protected land back in 1902 and is home to the Mescalero Apache. The first place we stopped for the night was actually in Carlsbad, as we were going to be visiting the caverns over the next few days and visited the national forest while on our way to White Sands. I'll be making a different video for those in the coming months, so if you're interested in that, definitely keep an eye out. When we got stopped, I got to work on my first art piece, which was an ink drawing of the flatlands we had passed earlier that day. I really love drawing in ink, as it's the only time I can let things go on the page and feel good about having my art be messy. After I finished that, I started painting in my mini sketchbook some more of the scenery I saw when I was in the car. This one is from before we crossed into New Mexico, and I was amazed at how green the foliage was from the recent rain, as I usually think of Texas as being dry and dusty and brown and yellow. I wasn't able to finish this painting while I was still in New Mexico, so I brought it back to my studio and added the last couple of details there. And I know some of you, like me, enjoy watching tape peels, so here's just a little snippet of that. The next day, we drove out to White Sands, which is when we passed through Lincoln National Forest. Let me tell you, as someone who grew up camping in Wyoming, this forest was different. The whole drive up, I was looking at the map telling me there was a forest ahead, and I didn't believe it. The land is incredibly flat and barren for a long time before you get there. Even after we passed the forest sign, it still didn't feel like your typical forest. There were pine trees, but they were scattered around instead of being packed tight. The earth beneath them was also not what I was expecting. Instead of being rich, dark soil, it was incredibly rocky and dusty looking. Halfway through the woods is when it really started to feel woodsy, around the time we hit Cloudcroft. What was also funny was that anytime there was a flat area between the mountains, there would be cows on super green grass. It just looked a little bit off, almost artificial, like having turf in a desert. While it wasn't what I expected, the canyons and cliffs were absolutely beautiful. I was able to get out and look around with binoculars for a bit, and I couldn't stop thinking about all the wildlife I couldn't see because of their camouflage. Lincoln National Forest is home to an assortment of deer and elk, black bears, Barbary sheep, turkey, and mountain lions. It also has a few endangered species like the Mexican spotted owl, the New Mexico meadow jumping mouse, the checker spot butterfly, and the Sacramento mountain salamander. Because it has both a mountain and desert environment, it has a coniferous forest with Douglas fir, aspen, and pine trees, as well as desert flora like sagebrush and cacti. 2 classes of flora that we don't really imagine going together, but that works. What's really cool is that from one of the outlooks, you can see White Sands National Park way out in the distance. I thought it was low clouds on the horizon at first, and it really makes for a cool scene. There were also several caves that we saw, but we did not go in them. Now that I know what to expect from Lincoln National Forest, I'd love to go back someday and do a day hike because it really is like no forest I've seen before. When I got home from our trip, I decided to make 2 small paintings to represent this national forest. The first one was a bit abstract and was made to document the colors I saw when I was there. Most of Lincoln Forest was full of beiges, tans, and browns due to the rocky soil and lack of tall grass. But between all the browns were pops of bright green from the pine trees and the sagebrush. One thing about me is that I'm from the tall grass region of the States, so I'm used to the ground being fully covered in foliage. So the lack of grass was a little off-putting at times, especially on the long stretches of driving, but I think I'm starting to come around to the sagebrush after spending more time around it. I will say my allergies were out of control on this trip. Of course, I have more tape peels for you, and I'm really happy with how cleanly this tape came off. In the second painting, I wanted to capture the moment I had at the outlook, so I decided to do a mixed media painting. I started by freehanding the ink drawing, then went in with loose color, gradually defining each section. At this point in my art career, I would say that I freehand or free paint about 75 to 80% of my finished pieces. When I was younger, I couldn't imagine myself freehanding a drawing with pen, but it turns out it's really just another skill you can build over time. I have nothing against tracing or drawing rough sketches first, but for me personally, I like when my pieces are a little bit different from the reference because it feels a little bit more human. When it comes to the color, I had pre-dried some gouache and watercolor pans for my trip, and I decided to use that palette for this painting, plus some of my old Arteza watercolors that are not really watercolors. I kind of wish I would have just used regular watercolors so my lines didn't get as muddied, but there's no going back at this point. I did, however, choose to lift some of the darker paint off because it felt too dark for what I was going for in this painting. Part of why I decided to make this series is because I joined an initiative called Art for Our Parks. This is a community of artists and creators who want to help protect public lands and wildlife for future generations. All artists involved have agreed to donate a portion of their proceeds to various nonprofit organizations that play a part in conservation. This includes things like park nonprofits to wildlife rehab services. I currently have a tab on my website showing which pieces are a part of the Art for Our Parks collection and where the donation money will be going when purchased if you would like to check that out. I will be adding these two paintings to that collection as a pair and plan on doing so for the rest of the series as well. If you've made it this far in the video, congratulations! I would love to know, what is your favorite park that you have ever been to? This could be either a state park or national park, doesn't really matter to me. I just want to know which one is your favorite one that you have the best memories of. And your secret word is radish. Go ahead and type that below and I will heart your comment. As I mentioned earlier, I also went to a few other national places when I was on this trip, including Carlsbad Caverns, White Sands National Park, and the Guadalupe Mountains National Park. All of these places will be getting their own separate videos because there's just so much going on in all of them that I feel like it would be a disservice to pile them all into one thing. I also have a lot of footage from when I went to Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone last year, but all of the footage is shot in a vertical orientation, so the orientation of those videos might be a little bit different and might contain a little bit older pieces since I did that last year, but I'm thinking that I might also include those within the series. And of course, all of the usual YouTuber things. If you liked this video, like the video. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to make sure that you're getting notifications when I upload, because I don't have a normal upload schedule, make sure you hit the bell icon. All of my stuff will be linked below. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!